So now it is again my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the Reverend Dr. Michael Lewis Pfleger. They put your whole name up there, Father Pfleger. Senior pastor of the faith community of St. Sabina. So since 1968, Father Pfleger has lived and ministered in the African American community on both the west and south sides of Chicago. In the course of his extensive and active ministry, Father Pfleger has been recognized for his commitment to equality and passionate stance against injustice. He has been involved in many issues, such as campaigns against the sale of drug paraphernalia, billboards that targeted children with alcohol and tobacco advertising, and saturated communities of color, negative music that glorified violence and degraded women, and the easy access to guns and the violence that is snatching the lives of children across the country. Among many honors, at the request of Mrs. Coretta Scott King, Father Pfleger was the keynote speaker for the National Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative service in 2003. He was one of the speakers to eulogize Mrs. Coretta Scott King in 2006, and he was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Office of Racial Justice of the Archdiocese of Chicago in 2010. If you can please help me in welcoming to the stage Father Pfleger. Thank you so much, Father Pfleger.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the invite to be here on this day. And again, like Congressman Tchaikovsky said, to all those who were here 50 years ago, would you wave your hand? Everybody was here 50 years ago? Congratulations, because you are consistent. In July '65, Dr. King addressed thousands of people in this Winnetka Village Green in support of open and fair housing. March 7th, 50 years ago, was the Bloody Sunday across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And the truth of the matter is, brothers and sisters, 50 years later, although we can identify a whole lot of accomplishments that have taken place, for too many brothers and sisters, 50 years later, it's worse right now in America than it was 50 years ago. We continue to see housing inequalities all around this country and in Chicago. We continue to see the beloved community that Dr. King called us to and lived and died for fractured today. Fractured by racism and classism and sexism and poverty. Just this last week we see more children in how many years in the state of Illinois that are living in poverty right now in this state. And I can't be here without saying this because I wouldn't be true to myself. But one of the reasons we have so much unemployment and poverty right now in this state is one of the residents of Winnetka, Governor Bruce Rauner. Governor Rauner, you need to care about the people on the south side of Chicago and the west side of Chicago. Governor Rauner, you need to be out here today and learn from the people in your community. Just 45 minutes south of here, people are living in fear from violence. You can't even worry about housing if you are afraid of dying that day. We're up this morning at 8 a.m. Since Friday till 8 a.m. this morning, 5 people killed, 24 shot since Friday in Chicago. This is a disgrace in America in 2015. Because of these realities, we can't be nostalgic of what took place 50 years ago. Rather, we've got to become aggressively committed to make a difference. We have a moral responsibility to make America what she said she was going to be for every one of her children. The worst. I'm a minister today because of Dr. King. When I first saw him in junior in high school, and who mentored me, and his family mentored me and caused me to be a minister today. Let me say this to you, the worst thing that we could ever do to Dr. King, his wife Coretta told me, is to just simply remember him and be nostalgic. Rather, we must pick up the baton he left us. We must emulate him and straighten out the crooked and level the high and fill in the valleys and make the rough smooth again for all of our brothers and sisters. Today we have a Pettus Bridge to cross. And it's to break down racism in this country. 50 years ago, not 50 years ago, yesterday was the birthday of Emmett Till. On the day we were remembering the birthday of Emmett Till, we were burying Sandra Bland. And I don't know if she committed suicide or she was murdered in the cell. But I do know the first time she was hung when she was stopped because of racism on a pretending lanes and pulled out of a door of a car like you some animal. You can't treat people like that in 2015. So I beg you, fight every day to dismantle racism. Let's end this poverty that's worse now than when Dr. King got killed in 1968. Let's build the beloved community that Dr. King called us to do. Let's come out and fight every single day. Let's be aggressive about common sense gun laws so people that don't have guns shouldn't have guns in America. Finally, let me say this to the people of faith. It's time for the Christians, time for the Muslims, and time for the Jews to become the voice together, united, to fight racism in America. It's time for the faith community to rise up and be the moral conscience. America has lost its conscience, but we will bring it back. God bless you.